We're going to carry on with this hormones and nerves. So in some countries, BST from genetically modified bacteria has been injected to improve milk production. In other countries, selective breeding has been used to improve milk production. Describe how selective breeding could be used to increase milk production. So you have selective breeding. Right. That's where a human selects organism, whether it's a plant or animal, to produce or to get the best features to produce an animal or plant suited to their needs. So for example, people want a good harvest, so they'll select, so that's an apple, and they'll select another apple because they want a big fruit, round fruit. They might select apples which produce small red colored fruits. They might pick an apple which produces, just say, yellow spherical fruits, medium size. So it depends what features you've selected. And then what you do is from there, you select two really round, for example, yellow plants, and then you cross-pollinate them. And then you keep doing that till eventually you've got your perfectly round, perfectly spherical, perfectly yellow apple. It's not good, that, because there's no genetic variation, first of all, and it might be prone to disease. So then what do you have to do? You have to put loads of pesticides, herbicides, and then when humans eat that, it ends up in them. And that's where you get something called accumulation. Accumulation, I think. Can't believe my spellings. I need to stop teaching. Right, okay, so how can a human, so what happens, we'll just say a farmer selects a high yield, okay, high milk, let's put it this way, high yield milk producing cow, and a bull, so that's the male, and that's the female. Right, and a bull, we'll make it easy, from a high yield, high milk producing cow. So we know that they've both got the right genes. Okay, then what do? You breed the two, and from their offspring select the, really you want to select the higher breeding. They'll all be sort of higher breeding, but you want the highest, really, highest breeding, highest, not breeding, highest producing, that would be the wrong word, highest yield cow, and bull. Continue this for generations and you will end up with a herd of cows that are high milk producing, high yield producing. Generations. Right. I think that's good. I think we've done these anyway. Right, insulin is from the pancreas. What's from the testes? That something that stimulates male secondary sexual characteristics. It is testosterone. Testosterone. Increased permeability of the collecting duct. So that is antidiuretic hormone. And then you need, that comes from the pituitary gland. Pituitary gland. They will also allow from the hypothalamus. Repairs the uterus lining. Estrogen. And it's produced in the ovaries. So let me just quickly go through. So that's a person's head. So what happens here in the base of the brain, you've got the pituitary gland. Here around the around the throat, bottom end of the throat, around the is it wishbone, you've got the thyroid, and then you've got your two kidneys. Remember what we said, the word renal is related to kidneys, so just next to those are the adrenal glands. Right, then you've got this comma, and that is the pancreas. And then women have ovaries and men have testes. These are all the organs that we need to know, or they're called the hormone producing glands or organs. Let's have a look. Right, okay. I think we did this. Cells do not store glucose. Why? Because that is water soluble. So what would happen if you had glucose? The glucose is soluble in water, which would be lost through osmosis or osmotic effect. That means that, no, okay, this is what happens. You've got glucose in your blood like this. Insulin comes along, joins these up together to become glycogen. Now glycogen is then stored in the liver for later on. So what's happened is insulin has come along, taken glucose in the blood, turned it into glycogen and stored it in the liver for later on. Right, okay. So graph shows changes in the relative level of glucose, glycogen and insulin before and after a meal. So time's going along. You're here at the moment. What happens is you start eating here. Right, so remember what happens. You've got your food. That's going to get digested and absorbed into the blood. Let's just say as glucose. Right, your body starts using glucose and it's still being absorbed. So your body doesn't need too much glucose. So what happens is your pancreas is called upon to release insulin. So this is your pancreas. And then what happens is, like we said earlier, it takes the glucose, puts it together. So remember, glucose is soluble in water. That there is now glycogen, and it's stored in your liver and muscle cells. Yeah, so we'll just say liver for now, and it's stored for later, so it goes there and then something else happens, but we'll leave it like this. So this is what's going on. So first of all, what happens is the glucose levels rise. So you can see that the glucose levels are rising, so that must be glucose. Then what happens is insulin levels rise. So the next one to rise is, very clever, is it? Insulin. So insulin starts rising afterwards. And as it starts storing it, also starts producing glycogen, your glycogen level starts rising, and then they're stored in your liver and muscle cells, and then as your body starts using it, they'll start going down a bit again. So X is glycogen. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Let's have a look what's next. Right, we're looking now at animal cell called a neuron. Okay, remember we said there's 3 types. What are the 3 types of neuron? One was a sensory neuron, the next one was a relay neuron, and the third one was a motor neuron. We need to know the structure of these 2. Right. The sensory neuron looks like this. The body, this bit here, right, is here. A motor neuron, the body's at the end, and then the rest of the, and you've got the here the muscle. Let's just say muscle. That is the effector. Right. Okay. So I just wanted to clarify that. So let me just go through this. So good revision. That cover is called the myelin sheath. Oh my god, I can't even spell sheath. So I can't even spell myelin. Myelin sheath. Right. The signal's gonna travel in that direction away from that body. That will be called the axon. That there is the nucleus, and these are the dendrons, dendron and dendrites. Just stick to dendron. Right, name 3 structures found in a plant cell that are not found in a neuron. So we need to know that a plant cell will always have a wall. It will always have a permanent vacuole, and you have chloroplasts. Nope, that is dangerous. That you have to don't write just wall, cell wall. Right, okay. Right, so this is a tricky one, this, just visually. Right, so the signal's traveling up here, so this dotted one must be the sensory neuron. Right, and it goes into the, now watch this green bit here, that's part of your sensory central nervous system. Right, it travels up there, then it travels, oh my word, that was a terrible, I don't think any of these will be nice. That there is your relay, no, let's just do this. That's your relay neuron, and then you've got your motor neuron, and then you've got your effector. So I'm repeating all this so then it goes in right. They want us to complete the reflex arc. So reflex arc is like this. What happens is you detect something, just say for example you've touched a hot pan. The impulse travels up the motor neuron into the central nervous system, the green bit, through this bit here, that is the relay neuron, and then out to the motor neuron, to the effector. Right, and remember what we said. So that's your motor neuron, that's the end of it, and this is the start of your relay neuron. There's a gap, it's called a synapse, and a synapse is a gap which we need to jump across because the impulse has come and stopped here. We need to generate an impulse there. So what happens is neurotransmitters, chemicals diffuse across here. When they get there, they start off another impulse. Right. Part A. Oh my word, am I going to find? That is the receptor cells. You've got your sensory neuron, then you've got your relay neuron here. And then it goes on to the motor neuron. Relay neuron goes on to the motor neuron, and then the muscle at the end is the effector or muscle. That's that pink bit, that bit there. Okay, there's a small gap, yet we discussed that. What's the name of the small gap? It's called a synapse, or sometimes they call it a synaptic cleft. But right, this here is a speed, distance, time graph. So we know they're traveling at 120 meters per second, and there's a distance of 90 centimeters. Now if you look, this is in meters and this is in centimeters. So what we can do is we can change this to meters. So 90 centimeters divided by 100 is 0.9 meters. So our calculation is 0.9 divided by 120. And let's have a look, see if that works. 0.9 divided by 120 equals, yeah, 7.5 times 10 to the minus 3. 7.5 times 10 to the minus 3. That's fine. Right. What's this? Okay, let's see if we can get this done right. I think we've done most of these anyway, it doesn't matter. Cellulose is an insoluble molecule made from simple sugar. Rabbits' intestines contain, what do they contain? They contain bacteria that can digest the cellulose. Suggest why this is an advantage for the rabbit. Right, okay, so it's made out of starch. So what happens is, remember, starch is digested into, eventually is digested into glucose, and then the rabbit will use it for aerobic respiration for energy. Okay, when a deer sees a wolf, the effector is the muscles, leg muscle. Yep. Right, the deer releases a hormone when it sees the wolf. Explain how this hormone will help it run away. Right, the hormone is adrenaline. What that does, it increases the heart rate, which increases the blood flow around the body. Now that'll be important. Breathing rate. Don't just put breathing rate also increases supplying oxygen to the muscles for aerobic respiration. Now, also what happens is glycogen in the muscles and liver, muscles in the muscle cells and liver is turned or converted into glucose for aerobic respiration. And that'll cover the thing. So what's going on? Your heart rate for more blood, breathing rate for more oxygen, more glucose for aerobic respiration, for energy for the muscles. Right. Right. I think we can do another video for these. This looks as if it's almost been done, most of it. But it doesn't matter. Let's keep going. Repetition's not a problem. So I'll put this on the next video, inshallah.